enterprises, unlike startups, they know things will go wrong. So it's not a secret, and everybody is aware that it's not going to be smooth. So the communication has to be clear and, if possible, ahead of time, so that there is no surprises. And enterprises also believe not only in what we have delivered, but if they have the trust that you will deliver whatever is required in the future. So they are signing up with you for a long term. For women, I would like to say that they have to believe in themselves. Sometimes they do look for praises or assurances. Find an investor who is aligned with your. There are a lot of times new founders would try to take funds from the first person who gives them the fund. It may not be the best. It has to be a conscious decision, and make sure that the value of the investor and your value aligns. Otherwise, it is going to be tough, because you are going to have a journey for a few years with the same investor. So you need to align with your values. Gen AI and vertical agents are the top topics that is discussed in any technology forums, and I'm happy that Element 5 is in agentic AI platform for the post-acute healthcare automations, and hopefully we will ride this wave as well to grow. But Gen AI comes in the right place where automation alone won't work, because the automation is going to break when something changes in the back end or front end. But Gen AI is going to be resilient to address that break and still execute.
Can you shed some light on organizational design? How do you approach organizational design in a high growth company like yours? And how do you design your organization to meet the goals that you've set for yourself?
Ideas to IT was bootstrapped. That impacted a lot on the organization design. And at that time, I didn't have a big founder pedigree or any branding for attracting top talent in the industry. So we consciously decided that we are going to build Ideas to IT bottoms up. So we started recruiting people who would join without bothering about the branding. That means we have to go out and figure out the freshers out of college. From the beginning, we have been consistent on the interview pattern, and it has to be interesting and challenging to recruit the right people. And these people became the early adapters of Ideas to IT. So they were trained by the founders, and they started training the next batch, right? So it was bottom heavy for fairly a few years before we started to build our brand and start attracting the middle management. So that is how the org design was framed in Ideas to IT, because of the bootstrapping and the founder pedigree and the branding of the company and so on. So once the branding sets in and people are aware of Ideas to IT, the company also have become stable by now, and it was very easy to attract the middle management and then put together an organization design. Now, Ideas to IT design is at par with any other multinational companies. In Element 5, it was totally different. We are VC funded, and we had to scale immediately on the business as well as the team. So we actually started top to bottom here, where we had the credibility now, and we had the funding now. We were able to build the branding, and funding became half branding. To say that this is a stable company, there is someone who has funded it because of its credibility, and we had a few good alpha customers. So already we had customers by the time we went for the early stages of funding. So this brought us top talents to join Element 5. And also there is a difference of 10 to 15 years between Ideas to IT and Element 5, and people have started believing in startups also. So timing also mattered for Element 5's org design, and we were able to attract the executives in the market who are well respected in the industry, who had subject matter expertise also. And each executive built their own team in the way that they want. And I had built my team with the delivery team and the operations team in India and US, and also the support team in 3 countries. So it was my decision, and I made sure this is the how I want this team to be built and enhanced. Similarly, there is a sales team, there is a customer success team, there's a product team, and everyone built their own team in the way that they want to. Executives collaborated with each other and communicated that this is the type of team that I am building, this is my responsibility, and this is how we are going to collaborate with each other. So it came from top to bottom, And the funding and founders pedigree helped a lot with this type of design.
Adapt your structure to your specific situation and journey that that particular organization is finding itself in, and not try to copy someone else's playbook. Just be aware of that and adapt your structure around it. So one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because you are operating in a high growth environment, you are building a product company, and that too in AI. How do you balance the need to innovate while getting your day-to-day deliveries also done at the same time? I feel like that's a very interesting challenge. So you will have teams that want to innovate and they want to push the boundaries of the product, and you have set requirements from your customers. Be it, it could be, it has to be complying with a particular regulation that's coming out, or it could be like, oh, this version of the product needs to support a communication channel with another product. So how do you balance that day-to-day work versus innovation, and how do you kind of set up teams around it?
There are multiple things that we have used, and startup means innovation. So it goes hand in hand. You cannot let go of innovation and focus on operational efficiency and as a business. We have to be on top of innovation, even though we have a very successful product. And this applies even for the enterprises. And the typical enterprise strategy that even in Ideas to IT we have used is to have an R&D team dedicated for innovation, and the rest of the team works on the operational efficiencies to make sure that we deliver for the business. But in element 5 type of startups, we cannot afford to have an R&D team, and almost since we are a startup, the whole team has to work towards the innovation and build a product, right? The strategy that I have followed in element 5 is to have my core team, my employees, work on the R&D and keep working towards the next set of future. Whereas there is another team that works on the operational efficiency, and we make sure that these things are delivered to the customers to bring in more business. So these are two different teams, and we do collaborate based on the prioritization. So two teams cannot operate independently because the R&D team has to deliver, and that needs to be used by this team to deliver to our customers. And there are ancillary services, right? It can be an internal project, it can be servicing the customers or solving problems and handling the change requests. These are ancillary services that we have been providing to our customers. And I thought this would be a good project for outsourcing. So we did bring in the outsourcing partner, and for them, this is a project. So we had a collaborator between the vendor and the E5, and that person was in charge of making sure we get the quality of the product from the outsourcing partner, and we were consciously deciding on which project needs to be outsourced. So this is one strategy that I had followed in Element 5. There is another strategy that can be done with the same outsourcing vendor. Instead of doing the core R&D work in-house, the core R&D work can be can be outsourced. This can happen if your team doesn't have that expertise, right? It is not easy to build an R&D team. Let me be very frank about it. You need time to attract the right talent. You after those people join, they have to understand the business to even do the R&D on, and they need to be top on any technology that is out in the market. These are like a high pedigree team that you need to put together, and it cannot be done in a very short span of time. This is when you can outsource this R&D work to a vendor who already has the skill set, so that there is no time to market delay. Fortunately, these are some of the places where the Ideas to IT won some of the initial enterprise projects, where we had the talent, we had the skills, and we were latest in the technology. We were pitching it to the enterprises, and they outsourced it, and we were able to deliver with quality. And that is how we were able to get our entry into the enterprises. So the same outsourcing strategy can work for both doing R&D or any ancillary services.
I always thought, like, innovation is something that you want to keep very close to your organization in terms of intellectual capital, intellectual property. And it's very refreshing to see that even the R&D work. And in some cases, like you've talked about, it's very difficult to find high pedigree engineers or high pedigree teams to put together for solving a particular problem. If there is a focused team on a particular technology, rather outsource and get the best out of that and integrate that into your product. Yeah, thanks for that answer, Bhavani. It's very interesting to see that you can even outsource R&D for that matter. So something I learned today, and I did not realize that something as close as innovation is also being being outsourced these days. I want to touch upon another topic, completely different one, something that I always wanted to learn about. How do you maintain quality in a fast growing organization like yours, right? You're developing at a breakneck speed, and yet you have to put the best quality product out for your customers. How do you manage that balance, developing fast and also maintaining quality on top of it?
Yeah. Delivering anything with quality needs time. So it's very easy to say we are developing with a test-driven development. Unless you invest early on, we are not going to reap the results. And typically in startup world, we would try to take a shortcut wherever applicable to achieve results. And there is always a customer on top of you where we have to meet the timeline for the customer satisfaction. And so we tend to move towards manual work rather than automating some things. We have to be disciplined and find a balance. For instance, in idea story, any new project needs some core functionalities like the roles, users, and the dashboards. So this basic platform is required for any product. So in idea story, we invested the R&D team to build these platforms. So it gave us a leg ahead, and this time save was used in delivering quality products. And we kept improving this platform. We call this as accelerators, which helped us to deliver results in a much faster timeline and also with greater quality. In Element 5, even though our core product team is building the product, there is also internal tools that we use to save time in terms of development and QA, so that there is more quality product that we are producing. We have built our own IP to test our product. So the customer portals and the third party portals, we cannot really test unless we have the production data. So we have a tool that mimics this production environment and then test it out. So this makes sure that we are covering all the tests and put out a product in higher quality. And the other IP that we had developed is in automation, especially when we automate the front end screen. If something changes on the screen, like a button gets misplaced or even moved by a few pixels, we have built our own IP product where we are able to find this text or the button or whatever we are looking for on the screen. So these are some of the accelerators and our own IP, the small internal products that we are building that is helping us produce more quality results.
Yeah, I actually like the way you're abstracting things. You're trying to build purpose built products, not just for that particular project, but for the lifetime of your company. Like you're building tools that can be reused project after project, delivery after delivery. And I want to talk a little bit about fundraising and the financial management aspects of things in startup world. And we all know it's a fact. You have raised a lot of money through VC. Anybody that's raised money comes with a lot of pedigree, comes with a lot of backing, has already convinced people to open their wallets. And can you take us behind the scenes? Like, what was your mindset and what was your journey looking like when you went into making that decision of raising money and also convincing your VC partners to open their wallets? How was the journey like?
It was an incredible journey and first VC fundraising experience for me as well. Initial fundraising is always about the idea, the founders' team pedigree, and the TAM. In which we are going to launch our product. And this is the core thing that are required for Series Seed. And the minute you get the funding, it becomes more numbers and traction and customers. So till you become profitable. And after profitability, it becomes that scale and the following series and M&A. So this is the typical timeline of fundraising, as well as what you can look for in each series of fundraising. In as far as Element 5 goes, 5 years back when we launched Element 5, that was a time where the automations were the hot topic. Like you have the Gen AI now. Automation was that hot topic at that time and the go-to technology. And we were in the right spot with our automation solution. And we rode the wave, I should say. And timing of fundraise is also very important. We can always come up with any idea, but the timing and the idea and the market traction, these things make it possible. And we rode the wave, I should say, on the automation. And we also picked a very good vertical of post-acute healthcare. We did pick the vertical because of our co-founders' previous experience, but that was a time where the post-acute providers were hoping for operational profitability by reducing wherever possible the cost wherever possible, and the automations became a very natural solution for their problem. They would be that would give them the chance to repurpose the people who are doing manual work into giving care or place where the human intelligence is required. So both these things came together for us, and this made that we are the V company that needs to be funded, and we were in the right time with the right idea with the right vertical, and the founder's pedigree also added on top of it, and we all have a previous experience of building and scaling the company, so that gave the credibility and the trust for the investors. Investors also don't just invest on the ideas, they also invest for the team, and they need to also believe in that team will execute and make sure that it goes into a profitable exit. So I think everything came together very well for Element 5, and it has been a very good journey for us.
Excellent. I think your timing was perfect and you had a proper product that fit that market need, and also having a top-notch execution team that's going to execute on some of the product and also the projects that you're taking on was also key to success there. I want to actually address this question for budding founder, right? You've gone through that journey of bootstrapping, venture capital funding, and can you share us some fundraising insights that you would like to share for founders that are just starting out? They just want to understand what this world looks like and how should they be preparing themselves if they are looking for fundraising.
First thing any founders should know is their vertical or the area in which they are launching the product, the problem that they are trying to solve. Is it really a problem? And are there any competitors? Is it a green ocean? And are they the innovative solution provider in that area? So all these things contribute, and they have to be on top of this throughout, because any competitor can come at any time, and any new technology can make our idea obsolete. So there are a lot of things that is happening in the market. So knowing what you have to know is very important for a founder. This is the first important thing that I would say. The next thing I would say is to find an investor who is aligned with your values. There are a lot of times the new founders would try to take funds from the first person who gives them the fund. It may not be the best. It has to be a conscious decision, and they need to make sure that the value of the investor and your value aligns. Otherwise, it is going to be tough, because you are going to have a journey for a few years with the same investor. So you need to align with your values. And the other thing I would say is fundraising takes a lot of time. You need to look ahead and start your journey early on, so that you're not like crunching for cash and at the same time waiting for funds. You don't want to be in that position when you have a team already. Series seed is still okay. You're still managing with whatever funds you have. If it turns out only you will be the founder or the group of founders. But once you have a team that you need to take care of, you need to make sure that you start your fundraising early on if you're going for the next round.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of accountability that is factored in, right? Your accountability to yourself to begin with, and your accountability to the venture capital fund that is funding you, and your accountability to the team that you are taking along in this ride. So there's a lot of accountability that comes along with this responsibility of managing funds. So you've raised money, the cash is in the bank. How do you make sure that you're spending it wisely and you're spending on the right problems and on the right people? And how do you kind of manage that financial hygiene, if you will?
Sure. Finance is something that I learned after I became an entrepreneur. So I this is close to my heart. Financial journey in a startup is very important, especially when you have the funds to spend on. You need to know where you're spending, and you will say that these are the places where I'm going to distribute the fund. How much on take, on product, on sales, and once we get the funding, we need to retain those buckets and put the funds in those buckets. And you need to know how long are you going to sustain. We need to at least put together a 12-month rolling forecast. So when I say 12-month rolling forecast, it has to be rolling. Whenever you're closing the books at 11.5, we close the books every month. So this rolling forecast and reconciling the accounts to that is very important once you have the funds in the bank. And typically, a startup with VC funding, they should not only have this 12-month detail more closer to what we are going to spend, but also a little bit of more accurate, but still can be flexible 3-year and 5-year plan also. So once you have this, you will also see when you're going to become profitable or when you need more funds to scale. And once you have this planning in place, you need to have a scenario view also of this planning. So there's typically a base scenario, a stretch scenario, and a worst case scenario. What happens when we are able to achieve whatever we have planned? Stretch goals is something that is tying up to the OKRs as well. So what if we achieve a minimum? This is bare minimum. We have to achieve it. There is a stretch goal, and we will end up somewhere in between, typically. And there is a worst case where we are not able to achieve it. It can be because of many other factors like macro trends or whatever it is, but we need to have that backup of the worst case also. And then we have to play around with the financials on the projections. And typically on a board meeting, you would be presenting these financials, but to run a company, you need to be on top of these financials and not creating these reports only for the investors. That is very important. And the second thing that is very important for the startup, especially the startups that has not become profitable yet, is the cash burn or the runway, because the accrual based accounting is different from that of the cash balance that you have. So you need to understand some of these basic finance to run the startup. As Element 5 has done, we can take a fractional CFO and work along with them to make all these projections and help us run through these financials.
Got it. So your approach is very methodical. Like you talked about rolling forecasts, scenario planning, plan for the worst case, best case, and a possible case, and doing monthly checks along the way. And I think these are some of those examples that you set up yourself to having the discipline and also the financial hygiene you expect in a startup, especially the one that are funded from outside. When it comes to raising capital, right, the right metrics can make or break, or it makes all the difference, right? What metrics do you track personally within Element 5, and what metrics do one have to pay attention to in terms of ensuring that we are in the right direction?
Typically, the TAM, total addressable market, and the unit economics are very important when you're even going for a Series seed round. And once you have the funding in B2B SaaS market, you would want to track your annual contract value, your customer acquisition cost, lifetime value of a customer, and churn. These are some of the metrics that any B2B would like to track. And in Element 5, we focus more on the CAR, which is the committed annual recurring revenue, and NRR, which is the net revenue retention.
It's actually cool to see like how those metrics evolve, right? Like you talked about basics like customer acquisition cost, and then it becomes very, very nuanced and sophisticated to the NRRs and the cars of the world. The next topic I wanted to cover is around mergers and acquisitions. And you've had your share of acquisitions. To me, mergers and acquisitions is a very complex game. Maybe let's just talk about your acquisition experience to begin with. Like, how was it, and what was the driving factors towards you going that direction, and what are some of the experiences that you gained out of that?
Sure. I have not had an experience where my company got acquired, but I have acquired companies as part of Ideas to IT. So I can talk from that angle. Any merger and acquisition is to identify the right partner to acquire or the company to acquire. When you're sitting at the table for acquisition, few things needs to be very clear between the two companies. Why are you acquiring? Is it? It can be a new market. expansion, can be new vertical expansion, new product expansion, skill set of the company, the new technologies, customer logos, MSAs. There are a lot of reasons why you want to acquire a company, and the company that sits or opposite to you, they should also be aligned to sell their company. Let's assume that you're sitting with a company whom you want to acquire, and that company has European market as well as the Indian market, and you want only the European market. How do you go about with it, right? You cannot buy part of a company unless that company is willing to part with only a part of the company. If you want to buy the whole company, what are you going to do with the Indian market? Are you still going to continue it, or you are going to run it to the ground? Decision has to be consciously made even before you proceed on, because the next step is the valuation of the company, right? You need to value the company for the entire thing. If they are selling both the Indian and the European market, and you don't want the Indian market, you still have to put a valuation for the Indian market. So this becomes complicated if you don't align on what you're acquiring the company for. The second thing is the values of the founders and what is the future plan of the founders. So when you're acquiring the company, the value that they have built their company should align with your culture also. If it is very different post acquisition, you need to integrate, that becomes a bigger problem. Why are they selling? The reason for their selling. You might think that you would still want the founders to continue after sale to build and grow that particular vertical, but those founders would have been thinking of just selling it and leaving the team. So you need to align on what is the future after acquisition, not just till the acquisition alone, and don't make any assumptions. So when these two gets aligned, then you do the valuation, you do the due diligence, you acquire the company. It takes twice the time to integrate the teams than the time you are spending on actual acquisition. So please be aware of it. You can imagine how much work goes on in just the M&A, right? If you're able to pull it through and make the team work integrated, nothing like that. You just have to be more disciplined and know what you're going into.
Excellent. And those are the very thoughtful warnings that you put out. The post acquisition is something that's not thought out very well. And you talked about the unglamorous work of actually working so hard to get that integration going. And also, that's where the real challenge begins, I guess. The post acquisition is the most critical and important aspect. So let's talk about customer acquisition and growth for the next segment. So you, in your introduction, told you have 9 enterprise customers in the post-acute care business. Getting those enterprise customers to sign the dotted line is not a small feat. The vendor assessments that they go through, the elaborate vetting process you have to go through, aligning with their visions and values. It's a lot of hard work, and you have managed 9 out of top 10. That's amazing. And can you talk us through like how you landed and how you cracked it?
The first thing is obviously the product that we have. It is solving the real world problems for the customers, and customers, as soon as they sign up and see our product working, they get their ROI immediately. And when how we entered into this market is obviously because of our co-founders' experience in this vertical, as well as they are subject matter experts. And we did recruit some of the executives who are well respected in this industry because of their expertise in the subject matter as well as the network. So, with this high pedigree team and a product that works and solves the problem, we were able to reach out and get the customers. And the minute we make the sale and the customers see that it is working, it's a niche vertical. So, word spreads faster and the trust starts building. People just buy because it works, and that helped us to give more customers ahead of time. And also we are able to expand now with new products that we are building. So that initial trust and the proof that we are able to execute, these are the two things that helped us. Apart from the white glove services that we are giving to the enterprises, we need constant communication, especially when things are not going great. Enterprises, unlike startups, they know things will go wrong. So the communication has to be clear and, if possible, ahead of time, so that there is no surprises. And enterprises also believe not only in what we have delivered, but if they have the trust that you will deliver whatever is required in the future, so they are signing up with you for a long term. So these are the two things that helps us to sustain and retain enterprises as our customers.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is you built a lot of trust to begin with the product that you put in market, and you have a lot of expertise in the field that you're operating in, and you're actually creating real impact and you're solving for real problems. And I think those three are like the magic formula that actually works like a charm. And you're making it sound so doable, which means that you found the sweet spot from a product standpoint, from the customers, meeting your customer needs standpoint. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is women in tech and personal insights. So being a women leader in tech comes its own set of expectations and perceptions. What's your journey been like?
Women in tech, to a fair extent, is almost equal percentage as far as India goes. I have never found myself at a disadvantageous position anywhere in my career. So it has been good and well received, and the respect is always given to women as that of a men as far as the work is done. I can see already a trend on how many women were finishing their professional courses and then joining the company and continuing the job has increased enormously from the early career of mine to what we see now. Being a woman, I have also made sure that I give equal opportunity to women wherever possible in all my companies. And the first thing on Chennai, my first company, everyone were women in that company. So wherever possible, I tend to align towards giving opportunities for women. My latest company, Element 5, on the executive team, it's equal. Three of them are men and three of them are women. So I don't see a big difference or challenge of being a woman in this tech world.
It's quite refreshing, actually. It's happy to get that positive and empowering perspective. So, one other aspect that I wanted to explore with you is you've been a software engineer to begin with. Do you think that has anything to attribute to the success that you've had, or would you have anyway become an entrepreneur? I just wanted to explore that aspect.
Being an engineer and the tech background has critically helped me in all my startups. From the first one, Chennai Moms, where I coded and I created the first prototype of Chennai Moms and launched it. And in Ideas to IT in Element 5, the tech background comes handy whenever you need to manage and deliver a tech product. Even though I'm not hands on coding now, I'm able to understand the architecture that my architects are bringing in. I'm able to challenge and question on why such design because I have the other exposure on the business as well. I am able to work the timelines that the technical team is giving. I am able to challenge them, question them, give them some solutions on how to bring down the timeline and to deliver a tech product without a tech background would have been very difficult. So I think that technology background has come a long way throughout my entrepreneurial journey. When you say if I'm not having a technical background, will I be an entrepreneur? I would say yes, because the entrepreneur journey is more about ideas, solving problems, and coming up with something that you make a difference in. I think that is innate nature of me, and technology has helped me with that nature. And incidentally, Ideas to IT was launched for such non-tech founders initially when we started. As its name stands, we would bring their ideas into IT. Ideas to IT. That is the little name of Ideas to IT. Where any non-tech founders, if they need a technical hand, a co-founder on the technology, Ideas to IT will work as their co-founder to make sure they launch their product effectively. So now in this world, with all the fractional CXOs being there, I think it becomes even more inevitable for anyone to become an entrepreneur and founder to get all these fractional help that they don't have the expertise on. And personally, I have learned a lot of stuff that apart from just being on technology. One day I was like a project leader in a big multinational company, and the next day I am a CEO. And if not for this chance, I would have not known how to read a balance sheet. I would not have gotten a chance to set up an OTC in a different country. So all these exposure and opportunity has come because of this entrepreneurship, and these things are not technology. it's finance and operations, which is not my core studies that I did as an engineer. So I think by the nature of an entrepreneur, there is no skills that is restricting them. It's the talent that they have to solve the real world problems that is making them an entrepreneur. So I have always said that entrepreneur journey is a lonely journey. So you need to have someone who can help you with it, be it a fractional or be it a co-founder. So just make sure that you have people around who can help you with things that you don't know about. And it's not easy. It takes time to get to know and become an expert in another field, right? So just reach out and get help, and anyone can become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, thanks for that inspiring story, Bhavani. And fractional CTOs, fractional CFOs can actually help you in your journey. I certainly believe that tech skills and that entrepreneurship is a killer combo because you are solving a problem through technology. What best way? So let's address one more thing I wanted to talk about. We are at the topic of women. Do you think there is enough representation? I heard from you that you have equal representation in your organization, which is great, which is amazing. And you guys are an outlier. So tech leadership still doesn't have enough women at the top. And do you have any advice for people that are aspiring to become one and wants to break through into that leadership positions?
Sure. I do believe that we were outliers. We are outliers. And I can see that the leadership, as it goes higher, the women contributions are coming down, but it is improving year on year. And I'm able to see a lot of women oriented social groups, professional networking groups. And I have been part of a few as well. And it's very encouraging to see a lot of women joining the tech world and the entrepreneur world. And apart from the regular things that is applicable for not just women, for everyone, like improving their presentation skills and communications and learning new vertical like the finance and adjacent verticals. So apart from this, for women alone, I would like to say that they have to believe in themselves. Sometimes they do look up for praises or assurances. I don't think they need to be waiting for someone to praise them or assure them that they have done a good job. They need to believe in themselves, irrespective of others. The other item is to get family support. I have known many people who are very capable, but they have not achieved the level that they should have achieved because of the lack of family support. Make sure to get the family support. The third one is to ask for help. People are willing to help, and this was one of the chapters that I read in Tools of Titans in Tim Ferriss. Ask for help. People are willing to help, but we hesitate to ask. Once we ask, there is a lot of things that we can get. If you don't know how to ask or what to ask, get a mentor so that they can guide you and reach out to your family, friends, professionally who are above you, and make sure you get this help to grow your career, be it women or men. This applies for everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter of what gender. I think your tips are very practical and probably applies to everybody, like, believing in yourself, getting the support that you need from your family, and also not being afraid to ask for help. So some of those overcoming some of those limiting beliefs of yourself when you can take help from outside, that's great. So these are universally good advice for anybody aspiring for leadership, anybody aspiring for entrepreneurial journey. This is great advice. So I want to talk about future, how future looks like. We are in a world of disruption. The onslaught of large language models, Gen AI, agents, there's a lot of disruption that's happening around us. What is exciting for you about the future in tech? And also, what are some of the trends that you're keenly watching out? And how do you prepare your organization also in this world of, disruption at breakneck speed?
Gen AI and vertical agents are topics that is discussed in any technology forums, and I'm happy that Element 5 is in this, and hopefully we will ride this wave as well to grow. But Gen AI and vertical agents are very important. The more narrower we go, the better solution is going to be, and Gen AI is going to help with that. And we are in the right place to operate on it. I think AI will work better if we go narrower and we have a lot of test bed to test it out and make sure the solution fits the problem and solves the problem entirely. To take an example, an Element 5 use case is any post acute provider. Their core business is to provide healthcare, but you would be surprised to see how much time they are taking to do their back office work. to raise an eligibility authorization request, billing, and cancellation. All these back end work is taking a lot of their time, effort, as well as the cost. And we are trying to automate all the back end processes using the AI. You would be using multiple tools for the providers. So say you are going to post an authorization, you are going to work with the EHR, and you are going to work with the payer systems. And these are all third party systems, right? And when some changes happen in these systems, any software company, they do releases regularly and things change, things break. When you say Gen AI comes in the right place where automation alone won't work, because the automation is going to break when something changes on the screen in the back end or front end. But Gen AI is going to be resilient to address that break and then still execute. So I think this is the place where Gen AI plays an important role in advancing the solution that we have always been providing.
Got it. So what I'm hearing is vertical AI agents and cutting through the hype to focus on real world problems and resonate with the fact that you're saying go narrower so you can solve the problem to its entirety. To wrap up, tell us something fun about yourself, Bhavani. I think we've been talking about a lot of tech, a lot of financial hygiene, a lot of technology all along. I want to learn something fun about you. Is there anything that you would like to share for our listeners? Something apart from tech?
Okay. Fun. I don't know if it is a fun, but it is a fact that I am a living example of the book Checklist Manifesto. So
Right.
I don't know from which age I started maintaining the list, but I do carry my phone, notepad, laptop, everything with various checklists. And I have used a list for my personal, professional life, and it comes handy. So if you are giving me a new problem, or I have to solve something or plan a trip with my family, I immediately go back to my list. And people who have known me always have teased me, saying if I tell something and I start take my a phone, they'll say, okay, you have started making a list. So I am that kind of person by nature, and I was really surprised when I was reading this book to see that people are learning to make a checklist, which comes naturally to me. And I'm very happy, and it has helped me both in my professional life and to lead a happy life.
Yeah, I think just there are people that take chances with whatever is thrown at them, and there are people that are very methodical in terms of planning for it. And I certainly feel like putting things on paper definitely helps, and definitely helps in terms of plan execution and also seeing the end of the road. And again, anybody listening, Checklist Manifesto is written by Atul Gawande. He's a doctor, and it's a very very fascinating book. And I would highly encourage you guys to pick it up and read for yourself. So Bahani, this has been awesome. Thanks for joining and sharing your journey with us. And before we sign off, can you please let us know where our listeners can find you?
Sure. Thank you, Jay, for having me on your podcast. I really enjoy this conversation, walking down my memory lane. I wish you all the best for the Beyond Brilliance podcast. May you raise with a lot more viewers and a lot more guests. Looking forward to all your future podcasts from your team. Regarding how people can reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn, Bhavani Raman, and you can always follow the success of my companies. Ideas to IT can be followed at ideas2it.com, and Element 5 stories will be uploaded on the LinkedIn page of Element 5 or e5.ai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bhavani, and it's been a pleasure. And good luck with all your ventures, and may you flourish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Guys, if you found this episode to be informative, please hit that subscribe button and give your comments, reviews. Thank you so much. And until then, keep pushing those boundaries and think beyond brilliance.